The Mysteries of the Fire. Kundalini Yoga. By Samael Aun Weor. In the Vestibule of Wisdom. Beloved disciple. Many books have been written about Oriental Yoga. Yoga means union with God. All the books that were written about Oriental Yoga, before the new era of Aquarius, which began the 4th day of February, 1962 between the hours of 2 and 3 in the afternoon, are antiquated. This book entitled Kundalini Yoga is for the new Aquarian era. Through this book we teach our disciples a practical religion. All religions teach us unbreakable dogmas on which we have to inevitably believe, even when their truths cannot be seen with eyes of the flesh. In regard to the former statement, we, the Gnostics, are a little different. We teach the human being to see, hear, touch and perceive all of the things from beyond the grave, the divine mysteries, the ineffable things, etc. We sustain that the human being has a sixth sense, and that through this sixth sense, he can see the angels and converse with them. We asseverate that the human being has a seventh sense called intuition. The human being can know the great mysteries of life and death when he awakens that seventh sense. He does not need to study these mysteries in any book. So, beloved reader, this book is for that purpose. You will find terrific secrets within this book, secrets that never in the history of life were published. We respect all religions profoundly, and we do not only respect them, but moreover, we teach our disciples how to see, hear, touch and perceive the essential truths that all religions teach in their sacred books. Therefore, this book that you have in your hands is a book of terrific secrets that have never been published. You can develop your occult powers to see, hear, touch and perceive the angels, archangels, seraphim, potentates, virtues, etc. You can attain union with God with this book. The Holy Bible has great truths. Thus, we read within the Bible how the prophets of God had the power to talk with the angels. This book that you have in your hands belongs to the Gnostic Christian Universal Church. Read it, study it, and meditate on it. This is the yoga of the new era of Aquarius. You will find a glossary at the end of this book with the explanation of the meaning of many words that you may not know. Therefore, search in the glossary for the meaning of each word that you do not know. We are approaching the ethereal world. The human being has to conquer the fifth element of nature, the ether. This has to be the conquest of the Aryan race. Gross materialism must fall wounded before the majesty of the ether. This book is for those who indeed want to convert themselves into angels. Every planet gives birth to 7 root races, thereafter it dies. Our planet Earth gave birth already to 5 root races, 2 more root races are needed. 7 elements of nature exist. The first root race lived in the polar cap of the north and conquered the fire. The second root race, after having fought against the tempestuous atmosphere of the air from the second continent, the Hyperborean continent, attained the conquest of the air and adapted themselves to the environment. The third root race lived in Lemuria, fighting against the tempestuous seas, and were removed by incessant seaquakes. The third root race conquered the water. The fourth root race lived in the continent of Atlantis within an aqueous atmosphere. Human beings breathed through gills, but a total transformation happened in the human physiognomy. With the deluge, the human being developed his lungs and adapted himself to the new atmosphere. Then the human being perceived the physical world with his sight, and he conquered the element earth. Presently we are in the Aryan root race, which populates the 5 continents of the world. The triumph of this root race has not yet been conquered. The Aryan root race will conquer the ether. Atomic investigations will take the human being to the conquest of ether. Interplanetary ships occupied by people from other worlds from different planets of the solar system will come to the Earth. These types of ships are owned by any advanced humanity from any of the worlds of space. However, these cosmic ships have not been delivered to this terrestrial humanity for the simple fact that they will use them to commit the same barbarian invasions that they accomplished here in their historical conquests in other worlds. The people from any of the worlds of this solar system are already very advanced, and they know very well the state of barbarism in which we, the inhabitants of Earth, are found. Nevertheless, in the new era of Aquarius, the inhabitants of the different worlds of the solar system will establish official contact with our planet Earth. Human beings from other humanities like Venus, Mars, Mercury, etc., will come in interplanetary ships, and many people will go aboard those ships to know the different planets of the solar system. Those advanced humanities will teach the human being how to build those interplanetary ships. This is how the official science will be fulminated and human pride will be wounded to death by the advanced humanities from this solar system. In the new Aquarian era, the Aryan root race will conquer the interplanetary ether, and cosmic trips to other planets will become routine. Cultural and commercial interaction will be established with all of the solar system. Thus, as a consequence, the human being will elevate himself to a high cultural level. Later on, the sixth root race that will inhabit the continent of Antarctica will conquer the astral light. The seventh root race will conquer the cosmic mind. Then, the human being will elevate himself to the angelic kingdom. Nonetheless, I tell you, beloved reader, that with this book that you have in your hands, right now, you can transform into a terribly divine angel, if that is what you want. What is important is for you to practice the terribly divine science, which we are delivering to you in this book. May peace be with this entire humanity. Samael Aun Weor. Chapter 1. The Universal Fire. 1. Mahakundalini is Fohat. 2. Mahakundalini is the universal fire of life. 3. The universal fire has 7 degrees of power. 4. O Devi Kundalini. You are the fire of the 7 Laya centers of the universe. 5. The 7 Laya centers of the universe are the 7 degrees of power of the fire. 6. 7 churches exist in the chaos, where the 7 planetary logos officiate. 7. These 7 churches also exist within the spinal medulla of the human being. 8. The 7 planetary logos officiated in their 7 temples in the dawn of life. 9. The 7 saints practiced the rituals of Mahakundalini within the sacred precinct of their temples in the dawn of the Mahamanvantara. 10. The material universe did not exist. 11. The universe solely existed within the mind of the gods. 12. Nonetheless, for the gods, the universe was ideal and objective simultaneously. 13. The universe was, yet it did not exist. 14. The universe is, yet it does not exist within the bosom of the Absolute. 15. To be is better than to exist. 16. The 7 saints fecundated the chaotic matter, so that the universe could emerge. 17. Devi Kundalini has 7 degrees of power. 18. There exist 7 serpents, 2 groups of 3 plus the sublime coronation of the 7th tongue of fire that unites us with the One, with the Law, with the Father. 19. These 7 degrees of power of the fire differentiated the chaotic matter in 7 states of matter upon which the perceptions of our 7 senses are based. 20. The 7 igneous serpents of each of the planetary logos fecundated the chaotic matter, so that life could emerge. 21. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, harmony, emotion and inertness, were in a perfect nirvanic equilibrium before the dawning of the dawn of the Mahamanvantara. 22. The fire put the cosmic scale in motion. 23. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas were unbalanced, therefore, the Mahamanvantara dawned. 24. The yogi must liberate himself from Sattva, Rajas and Tamas to gain the right to enter into the Absolute. 25. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas will be in perfect equilibrium again at the end of the Mahamanvantara. Thus, the universe will sleep again within the profound bosom of the Absolute, within the Supreme Parabrahman, the Innominated. 26. The universe will sleep for 7 eternities, until Mahakundalini will awaken it again to activity. 27. The chaos is the raw matter of the great work. 28. The chaos is the Mula Prakriti, the primordial matter. 29. Mula Prakriti is crystonic semen from where the universe emerged. 30. We have Mula Prakriti in our sexual organs, and from it springs up life. 31. We see 7 sacred vessels filled with crystonic semen on the altars of the temples of the 7 planetary logos. 32. That is the sacred symbol of Mula Prakriti. 33. Those are the primordial waters of life. 34. The water is the habitat of fire. 35. The one who wastes the water also wastes the fire, and remains in darkness. 36. The 7 saints fecundated the crystonic semen of the universe, so that life could sprout. 37. The yogi has to fecundate his primordial waters, his Christonic semen, with the grandiose power of Devi Kundalini. 38. Kundalini is the spouse of Shiva, the innermost, the Purusha. 39. Kundalini is the spirit of electricity. 40. Electricity is the sexual power of Maha Kundalini. 41. Kundalini is coiled within the chakra Muladhara. 42. Kundalini is the serpent whose tail is coiled 3.5 times. 43. When Kundalini awakens, it whistles as the serpent's whistle. 44. The prana, the buddhi, the indriyas, the ahankara, the mind, the 7 elements of nature, the nerves, are in their totality products of Kundalini. 45. Kundalini is intimately related with the prana that circulates throughout the 72,000 nadis, or astral conduits, which nourish the chakras. 46. The chakras are connected with the mind. 47. The yogi has to Christify his mind. 48. Prana is life, and it circulates throughout all of our organs. 49. Prana circulates throughout all of our nadis and vital canals. 50. All of the 72,000 nadis of our organism have their fundamental base on the nadi kanda. 51. The nadi kanda is situated between the sexual organs and the anus. 52. The kanda collects all of the sexual energy that circulates throughout the 72,000 canals of our organism. 53. The sexual energy is prana, life. 54. The angel Arak, angel of power, taught us the pranav candle, bandil, are for the awakening of Devi Kundalini. 55. These mantras act over the kanda, reinforcing the vibration of prana. 56. Thus, the spouse of Shiva, who is coiled in the chakra Muladhara, is awakened when prana is reinforced. 57. The correct chanting pronunciation of this pranav is as follows. 58. Kandil. Bandil. R. 59. Kan is pronounced aloud. Dil is pronounced with a low voice. 60. Ban is pronounced aloud. Dil is pronounced with a low voice. 61. The letter R has to be rolled and acutely pronounced, imitating the sound produced by the rattles of the rattlesnake. 62. This is how the prana is reinforced, so that from the kanda, from where the Sushumna nadi and the chakra Muladhara are joined, Devi Kundalini awakens. 63. The kanda is precisely situated in the same point where the nadi Sushumna and the chakra Muladhara join. 64. This is why the pranav of the angel Arak acts so intensely over the Kundalini. 65. The kanda nourishes itself with the sexual organs. 66. The kanda has its physiological correspondence in the cauda equina of the spinal medulla. 67. The spinal medulla begins in the spinal bulbar region. This refers to the medulla oblongata, which looks like a swelling, or bulb, at the top of the spinal cord, and ends in the cauda equina. Because of their appearance, the obliquely coursing fine nerve roots or nerve fibers are named the cauda equina, a Latin term for horse's tail, that form the inferior extreme of the spinal medulla. 68. Prana is sexual. 69. The sexual energy is solar. 70. The solar energy is Christic. 71. Prana is Christic. 72. The cosmic Christ is the solar logos. 73. The solar energy comes from the cosmic Christ. 74. The Christic prana makes the spike of wheat to grow, thus, the Christic substance ready to be devoured remains enclosed within the grain. 75. The water from the mountain glaciers penetrates within the stump to ripen the grape, within which the whole life, the whole prana from the Sun Christ remains enclosed. 76. This is why the bread and the wine symbolize the flesh and blood of the martyr of Calvary. 77. All vegetables evolve with the potent force of the solar logos. 78. All food disarranges itself into billions of solar corpuscular energies within our organic laboratory. 79. These solar corpuscular energies are called vitamins by the men of science. 80. The best of the radiant force of the sun remains enclosed within our sexual glands. 81. The very aroma of the sun, the most powerful solar atoms, form that semi-solid, semi-liquid substance that is called Christonic semen or Mila Prakriti. 82. Mula Prakriti is the cosmic Christ in substance. 83. Therefore, the entire power of Devi Kundalini is within our Christonic semen. 84. Whosoever wants to awaken Devi Kundalini has to be absolutely chaste. 85. Whosoever wants to awaken Devi Kundalini has to know how to wisely control the sexual forces. 86. The wise control of the sexual energies is called sexual magic. 87. Not a single yogi can totally Christify himself without sexual magic. 88. The Kanda is found situated within the chakra Muladhara. 89. The chakra Muladhara has 4 resplendent petals. 90. The Kanda has the shape of an egg. 91. The Kanda nourishes itself with the cosmic Christ. 92. When the Kundalini awakens, it rises throughout the spinal medulla. 93. The Brahmanadi, or canalis centralis within which the Kundalini ascends exists throughout the length of the spinal medulla. 94. Our planet Earth also has its spinal column. 95. The spinal column of our planet Earth is Mount Meru situated in the Himalayas. 96. The chakra Muladhara is the abode of Devi Kundalini. 97. The chakra Muladhara is found situated at the very root of our sexual organs. 98. Therefore, the chakra Muladhara is totally sexual, and can be opened only with sexual magic. 99. Sexual magic has always been taught in secrecy within the secret schools of Oriental Yoga. 100. In our next chapters we will teach to our disciples the complete sexual magic of India and Tibet, just as it has always been taught in the secret schools. 101. Now, it is necessary for our disciples to chant daily the pranav of the angel Arak. 102. It is urgent to vocalize daily these mantras for 1 hour. 103. This is how we will reinforce the prana, by intensely acting over the Kanda, to awaken the spouse of Shiva, Devi Kundalini. 104. Maha Kundalini underlies in all organic and inorganic matter, and is the cause of light, heat, electricity and life. 105. We will teach to our disciples in this course of Kundalini Yoga all of the secret science of Maha Kundalini, so that they can awake all of their occult powers, and can convert themselves into logos, into Dayan cones, into Buddhas of Christic nature. 106. While the couple is in sexual copulation, the woman as well as the man should chant the pranav Kandal, Bandal, R. 107. The male should be seated at the right of the female. 108. While seated, male and female should chant this sacred pranav of Maha Kundalini. 109. The 7 planetary logos officiated the rituals of Maha Kundalini in their temples in the dawn of the Maharnavantara. 110. I, Samael Aun Weor, was a witness of the dawn of the Mahamanvantara. 111. I still remember when I was visiting the sacred temples of the chaos. 112. An ineffable lady was next to a logos in every temple. 113. Indeed, the separated sexes did not exist, however, the ineffable gods knew how to polarize themselves in accordance with the necessities of the moment. 114. The Elohim or Prajapatis are hermaphrodites. 115. One Prajapati, or Elohim, can draw forth his masculine or feminine polarity. They know how to polarize themselves. 116. This is how the 7 planetary logos could draw forth their masculine aspect. 117. This is how their Isis could draw forth their feminine aspect. 118. Now our disciples will understand how inside each one of the temples of the chaos the gods worked in couples, chanting the rhythms of fire. 119. Groups of children, Prajapatis or Elohim, formed choruses with these ineffable couples. 120. The sacred fire emerges from the brain of the father, and from the bosom of the mother. 121. This coenobium of the sacred fire fecundated Mula Prakriti, so that life could emerge. 122. The raw matter of the great work is the Christonic semen. 123. The raw matter of the great work is the mazar of the gods, the sea of milk, the fountain of milk and of the coagulations, the water of Amrita. 124. That is the sacred cow from where life emerges. 125. These are the primordial waters that we have deposited within our sexual glands. 126. The verb of the gods fecundated the chaotic matter, so that life could emerge. 127. The throat is a uterus where the word is gestated. 128. The throat is the sexual organ of the gods. 129. The sexual magic of the verb fecundated the chaotic matter, so that life could emerge. 130. The creation of the universe was the outcome of the sexual magic of the verb. 131. The universe was elaborated with the type of Anu atom, within the profound bosom of Parabrahman. 132. The Anu atom cannot be multiplied, or divided in the progenital, or primogenital state. 133. All the atoms of the universe are nothing but passing vestures of the primordial Anu atom. 134. This primordial Anu atom is nirvanic. 135. The objective material universe is born from a nirvanic condensation. 136. The entire universe is granulated Fohat. 137. The entire material universe is elaborated with the granulations of Forat. Chapter 2. The degrees of power of the fire. 1. The cerebrospinal nervous system is formed by cerebrum, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, and spinal medulla. 2. The medulla oblongata connects the cerebellum with the sacred spinal medulla. 3. The medulla oblongata is intimately related with all of the so-called involuntary functions of our organic system. 4. The medulla begins on the top of the spinal canal and ends in the first vertebra of the coccygeal region. 5. The spinal medulla is a cord of gray and white material. 6. The gray matter is in the center of the spinal medulla, and the white matter in its periphery. 7. The gray matter is formed in its conjunction by innumerable nervous cells and a multitude of nervous fibers. 8. The white matter is formed by nervous medullar matter. 9. All of this matter looks as if it is suspended from the medullar canal. 10. The nourishment of this fine medullar matter is performed by means of the delicate web of membranes that are around it. 11. The medulla and the brain are surrounded by a powerful liquid mentioned by Mr. Leadbeater in one of his books. 12. This marvelous fluid protects the medulla and the brain. 13. The medulla is totally protected by a marvelous covering of innumerable tissues of greasy matter. 14. The medulla is divided into two symmetrical parts, which are completely demarcated by two caesuras, the caesura of Silvio and the caesura of Rolando. 15. The centralis exists throughout the length of the medulla. 16. The Brahmanadi runs throughout the length of this medullar canal from the chakra Muladhara until the chakra Sahasrara. 17. The Kundalini rises throughout this nadi until the Brahmarandra. 18. The Brahmarandra is septuple in its internal constitution. 19. Each one of our 7 bodies has its own spinal medulla and its Brahmanadi. 20. The Kundalini is constituted by 7 serpents. 21. These 7 serpents are the 7 radicals. 22. These 7 serpents of Devi Kundalini are 7 brothers of Fohat. These 7 serpents of Devi Kundalini are the 7 degrees of power of the fire. 23. The septenary constitution of the human being is 1. Atman, the innermost. 2. Buddhi, the consciousness, the divine soul. 3. Superior manas, the human soul, willpower, causal body. 4. Inferior manas, the mind, mental body. 5. Kamarupa, the body of desires, the astral body. 6. Linga Sarira, the vital, etheric, body. 7. Sthula Sarira, the physical body. 24. Each one of these 7 bodies has its own spinal medulla, its Shashamnanadi, and its Brahmanadi. 25. There are 7 serpents, 2 groups of 3 with the coronation of the 7th tongue of fire that unites us with the One, with the Law, with the Father. 26. These are the 7 levels of knowledge. 27. These are the 7 doorways of the 7 great initiations of major mysteries. 28. Only the terror of love and law reigns throughout these 7 doorways. 29. The human being raises the first serpent through the first initiation of major mysteries. 30. The human being raises the second serpent through the second initiation of major mysteries, and likewise successively. 31. The human being who raises the 7th serpent converts himself into a Mahachohan. 32. The spinal medulla enters the 4th ventricle of the brain, and after having passed through the 3rd and 5th ventricle reaches the chakra Sahasrara, which is situated in the superior part of the crown of the head. 33. The vertebral column has 33 vertebrae. 34. The cervical region is formed by 7 vertebrae, the dorsal by 12, the lumbar by 5, the sacrum by 5, and the coccygeal by 4 vertebrae. 35. These vertebrae are connected among themselves by fibrocartilaginous cushions. 36. These vertebrae are septuple in their constitution, because they exist in each one of the 7 bodies of the human being. 37. Each one of these vertebrae corresponds, in the internal worlds, to a holy chamber. 38. As the human being causes the Kundalini to rise throughout his spinal medulla, he is penetrating into each one of the holy chambers of the temple. 39. Each one of these 33 chambers is septuple in its internal constitution. 40. The 7 aspects of each one of these 33 holy chambers exactly correspond to the 7 degrees of power of the fire. 41. We are penetrating within the first aspect of each one of these 33 holy chambers with the first degree of power of the fire. 42. We penetrate within the second aspect of each one of these 33 holy chambers with the second degree of power of the fire, which belongs to the etheric body. 43. We penetrate within the 33 holy chambers of the astral body, with the third degree of power of the fire. 44. We penetrate within the 33 holy chambers of the mental body, with the fourth degree of power of the fire, and likewise successively. 45. We crystify our 7 bodies with the 7 degrees of power of the fire. 46. We know the mysteries of the 7 great initiations of major mysteries with the 7 degrees of power of the fire. 47. Our entire personality must be absorbed within the Purusha. 48. Our entire personality must be absorbed within the innermost. 49. The 3 seats must be awakened to liberty and to life. 50. This is how we prepare ourselves to receive our resplendent dragon of wisdom, our cosmic Krestos, that incessant breath from the Absolute who lives within the depth of our being. 51. The human being is converted into a cosmic Krestos when he receives his resplendent dragon of wisdom. 52. Jesus of Nazareth converted himself into a cosmic Krestos when he received his resplendent dragon of wisdom in the Jordan. 53. John the Baptist was an initiate of the cosmic Krestos. 54. An eternal breath exists within the heart of every life. 55. All of the breaths of life are the great breath emanated from the Absolute in the dawn of the Mahamanvantara. 56. All the breaths are resplendent dragons of wisdom. 57. The great breath is the cosmic Christ, the army of the voice Kuan Yin, the melodious voice, Avalokitesvara, Vishnu, Osiris, the central sun. 58. After having raised the 7 serpents upon the staff, the human being then, after some time of work, prepares himself to receive his resplendent dragon of wisdom. 59. That is the descent of Christ into the human being. 60. I, Aun Weor, received my resplendent dragon of wisdom, named Samael, logos of the planet Mars. 61. I am the Chalcean avatar of the new Aquarian era. 62. I am the cosmic Christ of Aquarius. 63. I am the initiator of the new era. 64. I am Samael, the planetary genie of Mars. Chapter 3. The 2 witnesses. 1. And the angel that talked with me came again, and waked me, as a man that is wakened out of his sleep. 2. And said unto me, What sayest thou? And I said, I have looked, and behold a candlestick all of gold, with a bowl upon the top of it, and his 7 lamps thereon, and 7 pipes to the 7 lamps, which are upon the top thereof. 3 and 2 olive trees by it, one upon the right side of the bowl, and the other upon the left side thereof. Zechariah 4, 1-3. 4. Then answered I, and said unto him, What are these 2 olive trees upon the right side of the candlestick, and upon the left side thereof? 5. And I answered again, and said unto him, What be these 2 olive branches, which through the 2 golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves? 6. And he answered me and said, Knowest thou not what these be? And I said, No, my Lord. 7. Then said he, These are the 2 anointed ones, that stand by the Lord of the whole earth. Zechariah 4, 11-14. 8. The 2 olive branches, which through the 2 golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves, are the 2 nadis Ida and Pingla. 9. In the male, Ida rises from the right testicle, and Pingla from the left testicle. 10. In the female, Ida and Pingla rises from the ovaries. 11. Ida and Pingla are the two olive trees of the temple. These are the two candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. These are the two witnesses, and if any man will hurt them, fire proceeds out of their mouth and devours their enemies. 12. The solar and lunar atoms of our seminal energy rise through these two ganglionic cords named Ida and Pingla. 13. The right nasal cavity is related with Pingla. The left nasal cavity is related with Ida. 14. It is stated that the solar atoms penetrate through the right nasal cavity, and that the lunar atoms penetrate through the left nasal cavity. 15. The yogis who have not been initiated in the school of internal mysteries practice pranayama with the intention of attracting into the magnetic field of their nose millions of solar and lunar atoms from the exterior world. 16. However, the yogi esoterist initiate does not search outside in the world of Maya. The yogi esoterist initiate searches within himself. 17. When a yogi esoterist initiate practices pranayama, he only wants to make his sexual energy rise from his testicles to the sacred chalice of his brain. 18. Pranayama is an esoteric system to transmute the semen into Christic energy. 19. Pranayama is a system of transmutation for the sexual energy. 20. When the yogi esoterist initiate inhales the prana, or vital Christ through the right nasal cavity, and exhales the prana through the left nasal cavity, and vice versa, when he inhales through the left nasal cavity, and exhales through the right nasal cavity, what he wants is not to attract external atoms as the profane believe, but rather, to raise the solar and lunar atoms from his testicles to the magnetic field at the root of his nose. 21. The clairvoyant who observes the ganglionic cords Ida and Pingla of a yogi in the moments of practicing pranayama will see the pure waters of Amrita, the primordial waters of Genesis, ascending through these two nadis. 22. Swara is the breathing science. Swara is the sacred science of respiration. 23. Tonsaham are the mantras for the inhalation, and Tonraham are the mantras for the exhalation, whose extremes correspond to the rhythmic contraction and to the expansion of the undifferentiated cosmic matter, Prakriti, Mula Prakriti. Biorhythm by the Master Huiracocha. 24. Thus, from the mantra Svara is formed the sublime swara of which is stated in the 15th verse of the Siddhagama, the Vedas and the Zastras, sacred books of Hinduism, are within the swara. The three worlds are within the swara. Swara is the reflection of Parabrahman, the unique whole, the absolute. This is why some authors state, swara is life. And they add, swara is music. Biorhythm by the Master Huiracocha, Dr. Arnold Krumheller, page 72. 25. Swara afterwards forms the base of the tattvas, since these are the 5 modifications of the great breath. Biorhythm. 26. Now and then, the great breath is the cosmic Christ, Avalokitesvara, Kuan Yin, the melodious voice, the army of the voice, whose head is a Paramartha Satya known in this humanity with the name of Jesus Christ. 27. Jesus Christ is the greatest initiate who has come into the world. 28. The army of the voice is the Merkava. The coachman of that chariot is Jesus Christ, the divine Rabbi of Galilee. 29. Jesus Christ is an inhabitant of the Absolute, who renounced the happiness of Sat, the unmanifested, to come into the world with Swara, the reflection of Parabrahman. 30. Therefore, pranayama is the Christic science of the great breath, or cosmic Krestos. 31. That great universal breath of life, that cosmic Christ, abides within our Christonic semen. 32. The yogi works with the great breath, or cosmic Krestos, that is deposited within the Christonic semen when he is practicing pranayama. 33. Pranayama, a practice that consists of making profound inhalations of air, and retaining the inhaled air as much as possible, and afterwards exhaling the air until emptying the lungs, also teaches about the poles of the energy. One masculine pole located in the brain, cerebrospinal nervous system, and the feminine pole in the heart, grand sympathetic nervous system. Thus, as when we form 2 poles in the space through a magneto, we create new energies, and these forcedly are giving birth to a 3rd pole. Likewise, we affirm that the third pole is Devi Kundalini, which, from the union of the solar and lunar atoms, is born within the Triveni, situated in the coccyx. 34. These two polarities, masculine and feminine from the great breath, prove the sexuality of prana and Kundalini. 35. Kundalini is absolutely sexual. 36. People have the tendency of seeing sex as something filthy and horribly passionate. The yogi is ahead of dsa, asti, usti, desire, and reverently prostrates himself before the Gnostic mysteries of sex, because he considers that sex is a sacred function of Devi Kundalini. 37. The yogi knows that the waters of Amrita, Christonic semen, are the habitat of fire. 38. The yogi knows that the entire force of the solar logos abides within the seed of any plant, animal and human. 39. The yogi knows that sex is a holy force, and that it must not be corrupted with fornication. 40. The respiration through the right nasal cavity is called Surya or Pingla. We cause through this respiration the ascension of the solar atoms from our seminal system. 41. The respiration through the left nasal cavity is called Chandra or Ida. We cause through this respiration the ascension of the lunar atoms from our seminal system. 42. We reinforce the 3 breaths of pure akasa with the exercises of pranayama. These 3 breaths are combined with the solar and lunar atoms of our seminal system to awaken Devi Kundalini. 43. Prana is the vital Christ or great breath. That vital Christ is modified into akasa, within which the Son, the first begotten, the Purusha of every human being, is hidden. 44. Akasa is modified into ether, and the ether is transformed into tattvas. The tattvas are the origin of fire, air, water, and earth. 45. Therefore, everything that exists, everything that has been, and everything that shall be comes from the great breath, the cosmic Christ, the army of the voice, whose supreme commander is Jesus Christ. 46. Paranishpana, absolute happiness, without paramartha, awake consciousness, is not happiness. 47. Jesus Christ attained paramartha and paranishpana. Nonetheless, he renounced the happiness of the unmanifested absolute to come and save human beings and gods. 48. When the Elohim or glorious deities started to weave in the loom of God, they cried with pain when contemplating the twilight of the uncreated light that seemed to sink as a frightful setting sun. 49. Then Jesus Christ, the great Paramartha Satya, passed through the Vyanipasa, and came into the cosmic garden to save the gods, whose innumerable virginal sparks or jivas are devolving and evolving during this Mahakalpa. 50. I, Samael Aun Weor, was a witness of all of these things. I saw when that great being entered the sanctuary, and signed a pact of salvation for human beings, and he crucified himself on his cross. 51. I witnessed the dawn of the Mahamanvantara, and give testimony of all of these things. 52. Later on, at the dawn of the 4th round, the Master sent his Buddha in order for him to prepare himself in this valley of tears. That Buddha is his soul called Jesus. 53. And his Buddha lit his 7 eternal lamps. 54. And his Buddha raised his 7 serpents throughout the 7 canals of the candlestick. 55. Thus, when his Buddha Jesus of Nazareth was prepared there in the Jordan, his resplendent dragon of wisdom entered within him in order to preach to human beings and gods. 56. The sacrifice already happened on that occasion. The commander of all cosmic Christs, Jesus of Nazareth, already washed with his blood all the sins of the sanctuary, and signed the pact between human beings and Kuan Yin, the army of the voice, Vishnu, Osiris, the great breath. 57. Jesus is the supreme conciliator between the human being and the divinity. 58. The nadis Ida and Pingla are the subtle conductors of Sushumna Prana, the Christic sexual energy. 59. Ida and Pingla join the nadi Sushumna in the chakra Muladhara. 60. The union of these 3 nadis in the chakra Muladhara is named Mukta Triveni. This encounter of nadis is repeated in the chakra Anahata and Ajna. 61. Ida is cold and Pingla is hot. 62. The nadi Pingla is intimately related with the functions of organic assimilation. 63. Ida is of a pale color, and Pingla of a red igneous color. 64. The yogi can retain the prana that circulates through the nadi Sushumna at the point called Brahmarandra, located in the frontal fontanelle of newborn babies. 65. Thus, the yogi can defy death and live entire ages. 66. However, this is only possible for the yogi that has received the elixir of long life. 67. That elixir is a gas and a liquid. 68. That white-colored gas is electropositive and electronegative. 69. That gas remains deposited in the vital depth, thus the initiate can keep his physical body alive for millions of years. 70. This liquid makes the physical body subtle. 71. Thus, the physical body is absorbed within the ethereal body and becomes indestructible. 72. The nadis Ida and Pingala are found side to side of the spinal medulla. 73. These nadis entwine around the spinal medulla in similar shape to the number 8. 74. The celestial path is inside the nadi shashamna. 75. The Kundalini ascends throughout the Brahmanadi. 76. The Brahmanadi is found situated inside another very subtle canal that runs throughout the length of the spinal medulla and is known with the name of Chitra. 77. The 7 chakras known with the names of Muladhara, Svadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Ajna and Sahasrara are over this nadi chira. 78. Buddhi, the divine soul, becomes united with Shiva, the innermost, when the Kundalini reaches the chakra Sahasrara. This is the first initiation of major mysteries. Exercise of pranayama. 79. Let the disciple sit down on the ground, crossing his legs in the Oriental style. This position is called Padmasana in India. 80. Shut the left nasal cavity with the index finger and inhale the prana through the right nasal cavity. 81. Now, retain the air while shutting both nasal cavities with the index finger and the thumb. 82. Exhale the air through the left nasal cavity while shutting the right nasal cavity. Inhale now through the left nasal cavity, retain the air again, and exhale through the right nasal cavity. 83. When you are inhaling the air, imagine the sexual energy ascending through the nadi related with the nasal cavity through which you are inhaling the prana. 84. Think in the 3 breaths of pure akasa descending through the nadis shashamna, ida, and pingala, when you are sending the inhaled prana downwards, so to awake the chakra Muladhara, where the Kundalini abides. 85. Prana is the purifying fire that cleans the scoria which plugs the nadis. 86. The veils of rajas and tamas are dissipated with the sexual transmutation in pranayama. 87. The mind of the student is prepared for dharana, dhyana, and samadhi with the practice of pranayama. 88. The disciple should practice pranayama 10 minutes daily. 89. The disciple should drink a glass of milk or eat any light food after he finishes the practice. 90. The disciples can also practice while standing firm on their feet. 91. The disciple should slowly inhale and exhale with his mind very well concentrated in his practice of pranayama. 92. Many asanas and exercises of pranayama exist, but the former exercise of pranayama is enough for the transmutation of the student's sexual energies. 93. The disciples can also sit on a comfortable sofa to perform his practices. 94. Before starting his practices, the disciple must pray to his innermost by meditating profoundly on him. 95. The disciple must be profoundly concentrated in his chakra Muladhara and begging to his Purusha, the innermost, for the awakening of the Kundalini. 96. The Oriental yogis give a great variety of exercises for pranayama. 97. Let us see: profound respiration, sukh purvak, comfortable position, pranayama while walking, pranayama during meditation, rhythmic respiration, suryabhita, ujjayi, sitkari, sidali, bastrika, brahmari, mucha, plavini, kevala etc. 98. All of these innumerable varieties of practices and asanas, postures, served for the descending arch of the evolving life, yet now we are starting an ascending arch of evolution, and therefore that enormous quantity of postures and exercises are antiquated for the new Aquarian era. 99. Now the yogis of the new Aquarian era live a life of intense activity within the cities, and they do not need to withdraw into the solitary forests, because we are initiating the new Aquarian era. This era is of sociability, cooperation, and co-fraternity between all human beings without distinction of schools, races, sexes, castes, and religions. 100. All the exercises of pranayama can be executed in our own home without too many complications, and without abandoning the execution of all the responsibilities with our family, society, and humanity. 101. The yogi must be absolutely chaste, otherwise, he will fail totally. Chapter 4. The Yogic Matrimony. 1. In our former chapter we studied the esotericism of pranayama, and we realized that it is a scientific system of transmutation for celibate people, singles. 2. The swara, breathing science, is totally sexual. 3. The breathing science is reinforced by the sexual union of the spouses. 4. An act of sexual magic exists with which we can totally awaken and develop Devi Kundalini. 5. The formula is the following: introduce the virile member into the feminine vagina and withdraw from the sexual act without spilling the semen, without reaching the orgasm. 6. The refrained desire will transform the semen into light and fire. 7. The seminal vapors open the inferior orifice of the spinal medulla, which in common and current people is found completely closed. 8. This labor is developed under the direction of certain devas, who govern the elemental department of the cedars of the forest. 9. Devi Kundalini enters through the orifice of the Nadi Sushumna. 10. Pranayama is totally reinforced with the practices of sexual magic until attaining the union with the Lord Shiva. 11. The great breath is totally sexual. 12. Sexual magic reinforces the great breath. This is how Devi Kundalini progresses. 13. This is how Devi Kundalini evolves, develops and progresses. 14. Gautama Buddha practiced his cult of sexual magic with his beautiful spouse Yasudhara. 15. Only the one who has drunk the juice of the plant of the moon, Sorna, can be a Brahmin. 16. This plant of the moon is sex, whose juice, Soma, awakens in us the Kundalini. 17. This is the secret of the Vedas. 18. The master Helene Petrova Blavatsky was a great yogi. 19. This great master, after having widowed, had to get married again in the last years of her life to attain her realization and the development of all of her powers. 20. A certain disciple asked the master Mona once, "Master, you already arose the 7 serpents upon the staff, then why do you have a spouse?" The master answered, "Because I got her before awakening my fires, and I need her to enliven my fires." 21. The refrained desire makes our sexual energies rise through Ida and Pingala. Thus, finally, the lunar and solar atoms from Ida and Pingala join in the Triveni to awaken Devi Kundalini. 22. During the amorous caresses, the electricity and universal fire of life are being accumulated in our atmosphere. 23. If the man ejaculates his semen, then, as an electric battery, he discharges himself and totally fails in the great work of the Father. 24. The refrained desire causes the transmutation of the seminal liquor into Christic energy that rises through the nadis Ida and Pingala. 25. The yogi withdraws from his spouse before the spasm or orgasm to avoid the seminal ejaculation. 26. The seminal fire ascends through the nadi shashamna throughout the length of the brahmanadi. 27. This is how the esoterist yogi is totally realized, in depth, as a master of the cosmic day, as a master of the Mahamanvantara. 28. The yogis of the new Aquarian era are self-realized through the sexual act. 29. The times in which yogis needed to withdraw into the jungle to practice their esoteric exercises are gone. 30. Now yogis self-realize through the sexual act. 31. The soul of the new Aquarian era is human cooperation. 32. Yogis must live within society, as see their brothers and sisters, and living with happiness and optimism. 33. The new Aquarian era does not admit hermit yogis. 34. The age of Maitreya is the age of association and confraternity among all human beings. 35. Sex is terribly divine, and therefore the yogi must clean his mind from all kind of desires and animal passions. 36. The person who looks at sex with repugnance defile the terrific secret of the Vedas and the science of the great breath, where the Vedas and the Zastras are contained. 37. The yogi who flees from the sacred mysteries of sex is still filled with desires and animal passions. 38. Angels see sex with the eyes of an angel, yet demons see sex with the eyes of a demon, even when they dress themselves with the skin of sheep and disguise themselves as saints. 39. The yogi forms his home, without the necessity of violating the sixth commandment of the law of God, thou shalt not fornicate. 40. One sperm can escape during the act of sexual magic. The lunar hierarchies can select that sperm to fecundate the womb, without the necessity of spilling the semen. 41. This is how the Lemurians engendered their children in the stony sacred patios of their temples. 42. The tenebrous ones from the lunar path were the ones who taught the human being how to ejaculate the seminal liquor. This is how the human being sank into the darkness. 43. Now, we have to return into the sacred conception of the Holy Spirit. 44. The children of the yogis are fragments of victory, children of chastity, children engendered by Kriya Shakti. 45. All yogis must love their spouse and their children, and live amidst harmony, music, love and beauty. 46. Love dignifies, love exalts the soul. 47. God shines upon the perfect couple. 48. There is nothing greater than love. Man and woman were born to love each other. 49. The true yogi converts his home into an Eden of ineffable joys. 50. The yogi's spouse, his woman, is a divine priestess, and vice versa. 51. Women convert men into ineffable gods by means of the very sweet enchantment of love, and vice versa. 52. Male and female yogis self-realize by means of love. This is better than to carry out the life of a hermit. Chapter 5. The Chakra Muladhara. 1. Each one of the chakras located along the spinal medulla awakens as the Kundalini is ascending within the Nadi Chitra. 2. These 7 chakras are located along the spinal medulla. 3. When the Kundalini is still enclosed within the Muladhara chakra, then these 7 chakras are just hanging down. 4. However, when Devi Kundalini ascends throughout the Brahmanadi, then the marvelous petals of these chakras turn upward to Brahmarandra, thus marvelously gleaming with the incomparable sexual fire of Kundalini. 5. Today, in this lesson, we are going to study the Muladhara chakra. 6. This chakra resides at the very base of the spinal column, and is located between the sexual organs and the anus. 7. So this chakra is located at the very root of our genital organs. It awakens in the man and in the woman when they unite their enchantment in sexual magic. 8. The yogi, who does not have a spouse, can activate the flames of his Kundalini with pranayama and meditation. However, the complete, total, and absolute development of the 7 degrees of power of the fire are only possible when practicing sexual magic with our priest/priestess spouse. 9. This is why the female yogi Helena Petrova Blavatsky had to marry again in the last years of her life, long after her first husband Count Blavatsky died. 10. The 7 chakras are the 7 churches mentioned in the book Revelation of St. John. 11. Today, we are going to study the Muladhara chakra. This is the church of Ephesus. 12. Unto the angel of the church of Ephesus write, These things said he that holdeth the 7 stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks. 13. The one who walks in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks is our inner Christ, our inner angel. 14. The 7 golden candlesticks are the 7 spinal medullas, which are interrelated with our 7 bodies. 15. The sacred fire ascends throughout these 7 spinal medullas. 16. So, each one of our 7 bodies has its own golden candlestick, that is to say, each one has its spinal medulla, and its sacred fire. 17. We have 7 serpents, 2 groups of 3, with the sublime coronation of the 7th tongue of fire that unite us with the One, with the Law, with the Father. 18. The 7 stars that our inner Christ has in his right hand are the 7 chakras of our spinal medulla. 19. The Muladhara chakra is situated under the Kanda, that is the exact place where the nadis Sushumna, Ida, and Pingala join. 20. This is the fundamental or coccygeal chakra. This chakra nourishes all the other chakras with its sexual energy. 21. The Kundalini is found enclosed within the Muladhara chakra. For nadis similar to the petals of the lotus flower emanate from this chakra. 22. The 7 levels of cosmic consciousness are situated underneath the church of Ephesus. 23. The mantra of this chakra is Bhur. 24. the mantras DIS, DAS, DAS must be vocalized by prolonging the sound of the vowels and letter S. 25. DIS, DAS, DAS are the mantras that when vocalized in sexual magic, awake the Kundalini. 26. I know thy works, and thy labor, and thy patience, and how thou canst not bear them which are evil, and thou hast tried them which say they are apostles, and are not, and hast found them liars. Revelation 2:2. 27. The root of good and evil is found in the church of Ephesus. 28. There are many who say they are apostles, and are not because they are fornicators. 29. Remember therefore, from whence thou art fallen, and repent, and do the first works, or else I will come unto thee quickly, and will remove thy candlestick out of its place, except thou repent, and sadness will afflict thy heart. Revelation 2:5. 30. When the human being ejaculates his semen, reaches the orgasm, the Kundalini then descends one or more vertebrae in accordance with the magnitude of the fault. 31. Thus, I will remove thy candlestick out of his place, except thou repent. 32. To reconquer the power of the vertebrae lost in one ejaculation is very hard and difficult. 33. This is why our Lord the Christ told me, the disciple must not let himself fall, because the disciple who lets himself fall has to struggle so hard to recover what he has lost. 34. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of El, which is in the midst of the paradise of God. Revelation 2:7. 35. Two trees exist, the tree of the science of good and evil and the tree of life. 36. The tree of the science of good and evil is the sexual force. 37. The tree of life is the inner Christ of each human being. 38. The tree of the science of good and evil must be transformed into the immolated Lamb of the heavenly Jerusalem. 39. This is only possible when we inebriate ourselves with the aroma of that forbidden fruit that is pleasant to the sight, and of a delectable aspect, of which God said, Thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. 40. We must always withdraw from our spouse before the orgasm, thus, we avoid the seminal ejaculation. This is how the chakra Muladhara awakens. This is how Devi Kundalini awakens. 41. This is how we transform the tree of science of good and evil into the immolated Lamb. 42. This is how we transform into living Christs, and we eat of the tree of life that is in the midst of the paradise of our God. 43. The Muladhara chakra is related with the Tattva Prithvi. Whosoever totally awakens this chakra and attains in-depth realization can receive the elixir of long life and preserve the physical body for millions of years. 44. The Kundalini grants us knowledge of the past, present and future. 45. The evil order of Kula of the tenebrous goddess Kali exists in India. This is an order of black magic. 46. These dismal yogis fornicate, they ejaculate their semen, they violate the sixth commandment of the law of God. This is how they negatively awaken their Kundalini. 47. When the yogi ejaculates the semen, then the Kundalini descends one or more vertebrae in accordance with the magnitude of the fault. 48. The black magicians ejaculate their semen during their practices of negative sexual magic. 49. Millions of solar atoms are lost in the ejaculation of the seminal fluid. These solar atoms are replaced by billions of satanic atoms collected from the inner atomic infernos of the human being. These satanic atoms are collected by means of the peristaltic spasmic movements of the sexual organs after fornication, after the orgasm. 50. The satanic atoms intend to ascend through the Brahmanic cord, however, the three akasic breaths precipitate them downward to the coccyx towards the Muladhara chakra. 51. Then a certain atom in the Muladhara chakra enters into activity. Thus the Kundalini, instead of going upward throughout the Brahmanadi, goes downward to the atomic infernos of the human being and forms in the astral body the tail with which Satan is represented, the Kundabuffer organ. 52. During the act of sexual magic, the three pure akasic breaths are reinforced by the human will, thus, they can be for us a blessing or a curse. 53. If the yogi ejaculates the semen, then he will convert himself into a tenebrous tantric personality of the lunar path. 54. Those tantric personalities are totally separated from their Purusha, That is to say, they are totally separated from their innermost or Jivatma. 55. Every personality who is separated from their innermost sinks themselves into the lunar abysses, and little by little they disintegrate within the most terrible desperation. This is the second death cited in the book Revelation of St. John. 56. But when the yogi withdraws from his spouse before the spasm, then the solar and lunar atoms multiply themselves and ascend through the nadis Ida and Pingala upward to the chalice, the encephalon. 57. Finally, the solar and lunar atoms meet in the coccyx, then the three pure akasic breaths that descend throughout the sacred rod, spine, of the yogi awaken Devi Kundalini, so that he may raise her throughout the Brahmanadi. 58. The bamboo reed symbolizes our spinal column. 59. The moment in which Devi Kundalini and the Lord Shiva become united comes in order to transform us into masters of high mysteries of the great white universal brotherhood. 60. Woman is for the man the door into Eden. Let the man love the woman. Blessed be the woman. Chapter 6. The Chakra Svadhisthana. 1. The Kundalini passes through chakra to chakra. 2. This is how the different states of consciousness are opened. This is how the sadhaka penetrates all the states of cosmic consciousness until finally acquiring the awakening of the absolute consciousness. 3. The yogi acquires multiple siddhis, powers, in accordance with the awakening of his superlative consciousness. 4. In the internal worlds the word time is a synonym of esoteric degrees of consciousness. 5. 18 initiations exist, 9 initiations of minor mysteries and 9 initiations of major mysteries. 6. When in the internal worlds we state that a brother is 10 years old, we are simply affirming that he is an initiate of the first minor mysteries. 7. When we affirm that a disciple is 90 years old, we are asseverating that he is an initiate of the 9th initiation of minor mysteries. 8. When we state that a brother is 100 years old, we are affirming that he is in the first initiation of major mysteries. 9. The ages of more than 900 years are logoic ages. 10. Experience has taught us that any master who does not yet reach the fundamental root of the hierarchy, that is to say, that does not yet reach the 9th initiation of major mysteries, is very weak. That master does not yet possess that strong and unbendable moral structure of those who already have reached logoic ages. 11. In order to have the right to enter into the Absolute, it is necessary to possess the age of 300,000 divine years. 12. The last cape that a logos wears is the starry mantle, with which he gains the right to enter into the Absolute. 13. Chronological time does not exist. What indeed exists is esoteric time, because life is an eternal instant. 14. All madras and bandhas are totally useless for the new Aquarian era. 15. What are the madras useful for? It is important to transmute the sexual energies by means of love, poetry, music, and through unselfish service to this poor suffering humanity. 16. Yet, to insert a silver tube with water into the urethra, as suggested in one of the madras, only destroys the sexual organs wherein the key to redemption exists. 17. A yogi can live with his physical body throughout the millions of years, and move about within the pure akasa, without the necessity of cutting the inferior tendon of his tongue, as the Khetri Madra unfortunately teaches. 18. What is important is to attain the elixir of long life, and to become strong with the practice of internal meditation. 19. Gray hair and wrinkles disappear from the yogi, without the necessity of performing difficult postures, such as standing on one's shoulders, raising the legs while holding the buttocks with the hands, as unfortunately is shown in the Khetri Madra. 20. What is important is to be pure and chaste in order to vanquish old age and death. 21. Most of all, madras are inadequate for the new Aquarian era. It is not necessary to suffocate the Kundalini by holding the breath too much in order to awaken it. A short breathing during pranayama is enough. 22. The Kundalini awakens when we love our spouse, and when following the path of the most absolute sanctity, when loving all living beings, and when we sacrifice ourselves in the great work of the Father. 23. What the human being needs is upright actions, upright thoughts and upright feelings, conscientious action, conscientious word, and conscientious feeling. 24. What is important is to live life intensely in order to awaken the consciousness, and to attain great realizations. 25. What is the use of standing on one's head as the Urdhva Padnyasana teaches? 26. What is best is to finish with our moral defects, and to sacrifice ourselves for this humanity that suffers in this valley of tears. 27. Samael Aun Weor, planetary logos of Mars, says to his arhats, what is best is to love, because the force of love will take us to the ineffable joy of the Absolute, where life free in its movement palpitates. 28. The Svadhisthana chakra is the abode of the Tattva Appas. 29. The elemental genie Varuna is found intimately related with this chakra. 30. The color of this chakra shines with the fire of Kundalini. 31. This chakra has 6 marvelous petals. 32. The mantra of this chakra is Bhuvar. 33. The yogi who meditates in this chakra never fears water. He learns to command the elemental creatures of the waters, and he conquers occult powers. 34. The yogi learns to recognize the different kinds of astral entities with the awakening of this chakra. 35. The yogi conquers death with the awakening of this chakra. 36. This chakra awakens the prostatic plexus, which is fundamental in the performance of practical magic. 37. An extraordinary, beautiful crescent moon is within this chakra. 38. This chakra controls the kidneys, the abdomen, and the principal organs of the lower part of the abdomen. 39. In the book Revelation of St. John, this chakra is known as the Church of Smyrna. 40. I know thy works and thy tribulations, and thy poverty, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews, and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. 41. Fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. 42. He that hath an ear let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. Revelation 2 verses 9 to 11. 43. The second death is for the fornicators. The tantric personalities who follow the lunar path separate themselves from their innermost, or Purusha, and sink themselves into the sublunar spheres where they disintegrate little by little. 44. The order Kula of the tenebrous goddess Kali came from Atlantis and passed into India. This is an order of black magic. 45. 2 types of magicians exist in that order, those who hate sex and those who do not, but they practice the mystical ejaculation during their negative sexual magic rites. Some of their tenebrous partisans have made this negative tantra known in the Western world. 46. Those who hate the sexual force hate the great breath, because the great breath is the same sexual force. The great breath is the Christic sexual force, and those who hate this force hate the Christ. Therefore, they place themselves, in fact, on the path of black magic. 47. Our disciples are tempted and have to suffer tribulation 40 days. One has to suffer to realize the 10 Sephiroth in oneself. 48. These are the 10 Sephiroth of Kabbalah. Whosoever wants to self-realize the 10 Sephiroth, and to convert himself into a Christ has to be faithful unto death. Thus, I will give thee a crown of life. The inner Christ is the incessant eternal breath who dwells within us. Chapter 7. The Chakra Manipura. 1. Manipura is the 3rd chakra of our spinal medulla. 2. This chakra of our spinal medulla resides in the labhisthana, the navel area. 3. The hepatic and splenic plexuses enter into activity when this chakra awakes. 4. 10 yoganadis emanate from this chakra. 5. The color of this chakra is like a resplendent fire. 6. The Tattva Tejas is intimately related with this marvelous chakra. 7. The deity that rules this chakra is Vishnu, and the goddess Lakshmi is also intimately related with this marvelous lotus. 8. The mantra Ram awakens this marvelous chakra. The sound of each letter must be prolonged as follows. Ahahahaham. 9. Our disciples could invoke the god Agni, so that Agni can help them to awaken this marvelous chakra. 10. The god Agni has the appearance of a newborn baby, and when he presents himself dressed in formal attire, he wears a marvelous ornamented crystalline tunic. 11. Then we see the countenance of this portentous being as ineffable lightning. 12. The aura of Agni produces light and music. 13. Agni, the god of fire, restores the igneous powers in each one of our 7 bodies. The mantra SWA is pronounced as follows: Suawahahaha, Sua. 15. The yogi who learns to meditate in this chakra attains the Patala Siddhi. He acquires great occult powers and is free from any type of sickness. 16. This chakra is the telepathic center or emotional brain. 17. The mental waves of the people who think of us reach the solar plexus. Thereafter those waves pass into our brain. 18. Therefore, the solar plexus is our receptor antenna. 19. Our pineal gland is our transmitter center. 20. This chakra collects the solar forces and nourishes all the other plexuses with them. 21. The yogi who awakens this chakra acquires the sense of telepathy. 22. The yogi who awakens this chakra will never fear fire and will be able to remain alive within the flames. 23. The constitution of our vertebral column is marvelous. 24. Indeed, the vertebrae are placed one above the other, forming a very beautiful pillar upon which not only our cranium is supported, but all of our marvelous organism. 25. Our spinal column is a marvelous clavichord that we have to learn how to play in order to bring forth all the enchanted melodies of the zodiac. 26. Marvelous gaps exist between each pair of vertebrae, so that the spinal nerves can pass through them. These spinal nerves come from our spinal medulla to join each one of the prodigious chakras of the grand sympathetic nervous system. 27. The yogi must keep the elasticity of the spinal column. Practice. 28. Standing on our feet, vertical posture, with the hands placed on the waist, the yogi will turn his trunk from right to left around his waist, and thus he will keep the elasticity of the spinal column. 29. The solar plexus is the seat of Satan, inferior astral lunar body. 30. The revelation of St. John warns us as follows: I know thy works and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful Marty, who was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth. But I have a few things against thee, because thou hast there them that hold the doctrine of Balaam, who taught Balak to cast a stumbling block before the children of Israel, to eat things sacrificed unto idols, and to commit fornication. So hast thou also them that hold the doctrine of the Nicolaitanes, which thing I hate. Repent, or else I will conic unto thee quickly, and will fight against them with the sword of my mouth. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will one give to eat of the hidden manna, and will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knoweth saving he that receiveth it. Revelation 2 verses 13-17. 31. The lunar body, or inferior astral body, called Satan in esoteric Christian language, is connected to the solar plexus. 32. Now our disciples will comprehend from where the desires of overeating and drinking alcohol come. 33. Now our brothers will understand where the craving for fornication and gluttony are born. 34. The lunar body is a remnant from our animal past. 35. The ancestral inheritance from the animal kingdom is preserved as our lower passions within the lunar body. 36. When we were animal elementals, our astral lunar, protoplasmatic, body was not yet divided. 37. Yet, when we, for the first time, entered into the human kingdom, this astral lunar body was divided in 2 portions, one superior, this was imbibed by the mind, inferior manas. Any yogi moves consciously with this part during sleep. The other, the inferior, is called Satan in the esoteric Christian language. This is the inferior lunar astral body, Kamarupa. 38. This lunar body is gigantic and deformed in perverse personalities. 39. Now our brothers and sisters will understand why our Lord the Christ said, not until you become as children can you enter the kingdom of heaven. 40. Satan is nourished with our appetites and passions. Yet, when we remove the sources of his nutrition, he becomes smaller and beautiful. 41. This is how, dear brethren, we eat of hidden manna, the bread of wisdom. 42. This is how, beloved disciples, we receive the cornerstone from the temple of the living God. 43. That cornerstone is our resplendent dragon of wisdom, our inner Christ, that is the breath of the central sun within us. 44. This is the small white stone on which is written our holy name. 43. Repent, dear brethren, and finish with all your defects. 46. Sanctify yourselves, brethren of my soul, so that you will not fall into the lunar abysses of Ichi. 47. Perverse personalities are divorced from the monad and sink themselves into the lunar abysses of the 8th sphere. Chapter 8. The chakra Anahata. 1. This chakra has complete control over the cardiac plexus. 2. Its color is like living fire. 3. Indeed, a jet black hexagonal space exists inside this marvelous chakra. 4. This chakra is intimately related with the Tattva Vayu. 5. The deity that rules this chakra is Isha, who controls and rules this chakra, along with the Devata Kakini. 6. The Linga Bana is found intimately related with the Anahata chakra. 7. The Muladhara chakra is intimately related with the Linga Swayambhu. 8. The Anahata sound, or the Shabda Brahman sound, resounds within this marvelous chakra of the Nadi Sushumna. 9. This marvelous sound is the sound of the Fohat. 10. The sound of the Fohat is the S, which is vocalized as follows: SSSSSSSSSSSSS, as a sweet and affable whistle. 11. The yogi who learns how to meditate in this chakra will become an absolute master of the Tattva Vayu, and will be able to dissolve hurricanes and command the winds at will. 12. Some yogis state that one can float in the air and penetrate into the body of another person just by meditating on this chakra. 13. Undoubtedly, to float in the air and to penetrate into the body of another person is very easy. It can be accomplished by anybody, even if he is a beginner in these studies. 14. To float in the air is as easy as drinking a cup of water. 15. The secret is very simple. It is enough for the disciple to learn how to penetrate into the astral plane with his physical body. 16. Practice. The disciple must slumber lightly. Then very softly he must get up from his bed as if he was a somnambulist, that is to say, preserving the sleepy state as a very precious treasure. 17. Thus, in this way, as the disciple walks as a somnambulist, filled with faith, he will jump with the intention of floating in the surrounding environment. 18. If the disciple achieves floating in the air, it is because his physical body has penetrated into the astral plane. Thus, the disciple can go across space and soar to any given place of the earth. 19. This is how we can fly with the physical body within the astral plane. 20. While the physical body is inside the astral plane, it becomes submitted to the laws of the astral plane, but without losing its physiological characteristics. 21. Therefore, to float in the air with the physical body can be done by anyone. What is important is to have faith, tenacity, and very much patience. 22. The cardiac fires control the spinal fires. 23. The cardiac fires control the ascent of the Kundalini. 24. The ascent of the Kundalini is performed in accordance with the merits of our heart. 25. In order to get the benefit of only one vertebra in the spinal column, the yogi must submit himself to numerous trials and terrible purifications. 26. The progress, development, and evolution of the Kundalini is very slow and difficult. 27. With only one seminal ejaculation, the Kundalini descends one or more vertebrae in accordance with the magnitude of the fault. 28. To reconquer the powers of those vertebrae is terribly difficult. 29. The serpents of the physical and vital bodies only reach at the level of the eyebrows, but the serpents of the astral, mental, causal, consciousness, and atmic bodies inevitably descend from the level of the eyebrows into the heart. 30. An accessory nerve goes from the spinal medulla into the heart. Through this accessory nerve our 5 superior serpents pass from the frontal region of the eyebrows into the heart. 31. This fine accessory thread of our spinal medulla controls the accessory muscles of the heart and has 7 holy chambers. 32. 7 holy centers exist within the heart. Each one of our 7 serpents is intimately related with a chamber of the heart. 33. Our disciples must have a system of purification and sanctification. The heart is the abode of our innermost. 34. The disciple must make a list of all his defects. Then he must begin to amend them orderly and methodically. 35. The disciple could dedicate 2 months to amend each defect. 36. The hunter who wants to catch 10 rabbits at one time will not catch a single one. 37. It is necessary to attain the most absolute sanctity and the most terrific chastity to acquire the development, progress, and evolution of the Kundalini. 38. Celibate, single, people should transmute their sexual energies with pranayama. 39. Married people, husband and wife, do not necessarily need to practice the breathing exercises, since pranayama is condensed for them in the practices of sexual magic. 40. Sexual magic is only possible to practice between husband and wife in legitimately constituted homes. 41. Whosoever practices sexual magic with different persons is an adulterer and a fornicator. 42. Revelation of St. John calls this chakra the Church of Thyatira. 43. I know thy works, and charity, and service, and faith, and thy patience, the necessary virtues that we must have in order to open the chakra of the heart, and thy works, and the last to be more than the first. Notwithstanding I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel, fornication, which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and to seduce my servants to commit fornication, and to eat things sacrificed unto idols, theories, intellectualism, that is to say, all kinds of meal offerings offered unto idols. And I gave her space to repent of her fornication, and she repented not. Behold, I will cast her into a bed, and them that commit adultery with her into great tribulation, except they repent of their deeds. And I will kill her children with death, and all the churches shall know that I am he which searcheth the kidneys and hearts, and I will give unto every one of you according to your works. Revelation 2 verses 19-23. 45. Above the kidneys exist two plexuses that irradiate with blue and white colors in the chaste people, and with a bloody red color in the fornicators. 46. Our inner Christ searches the kidneys and hearts, and gives unto each one of us what we deserve. 47. And he that overcometh, and keepeth my works, or commandments, unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, even as the power that I received of my Father I will give him the morning star. Revelation 2, 26-27. Chapter 9. The Chakra Vishuddha. 1. The Chakra Vishuddha of our spinal medulla is situated at the base of our creative larynx. 2. This marvelous chakra is intimately related with the Tattva Akasa, ethereal element. 3. The color of this chakra is of an intense blue. 4. The laryngeal chakra belongs to the Tattva Manas. 5. The divine deity that protects this marvelous chakra is Sadashiva. 6. This marvelous chakra has 16 beautiful petals. 7. Indeed, the center of this chakra looks like a full moon. 8. The yogis from India affirm that by practicing meditation on this chakra, one is capable of sustaining his living physical body even during the very same pralaya, cosmic night. 9. Whosoever learns to meditate on this chakra can know the highest esoteric knowledge of all the sacred books, including the Vedas. 10. The yogi who learns to meditate on this chakra will reach the grand state of Trikala, that is to say, one who is capable of knowing the past, present, and future. 11. The mantra of the Tattva Akasa is HAN. Undoubtedly, this mantra must be chanted by the yogi when meditating in this marvelous chakra. 12. And unto the angel of the church in Sardis write, These things saith he that hath the 7 spirits of God, and the 7 stars, I know thy works, that thou hast a name that thou livest, and art dead. 13. Be watchful, and strengthen the things which remain, that are ready to die, for I have not found thy works perfect before God. 14. Remember therefore how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast, and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. 15. Thou hast a few names even in Sardis which have not defiled their garments, and they shall walk with me in white, for they are worthy. 16. He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, and I will not blot out his name out of the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father, and before his angels. 17. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Revelation 3 verses 1-6. 18. This chakra of the Church of Sardis belongs to the sense of occult hearing, of clairaudience. 19. The mental body is intimately related with the Church of Sardis. 20. I, Samael Aun Weor, planetary logos of Mars, after many Mahamanvantras of incessant evolution and progress, have arrived at the conclusion that the unique essential thing in life is sanctity. 21. The powers are flowers of the soul that sprout when we have sanctified ourselves. 22. For one step that we take in the development of the chakras, we must take 1,000 steps in sanctity. 23. We prepare our garden with the esoteric exercises, so that we can make our marvelous chakras bloom with the perfume of sanctity. 24. The yogi must water his garden daily by finishing with all of his moral defects. 25. Each one of the petals of our lotus flowers represents certain virtues. Without these virtues, the lotus flowers cannot open to receive the sun of truth. 26. Do not covet powers, because you will sink into the lunar abysses. 27. It is better for those who do not want to sanctify themselves to withdraw from these teachings before it is too late for them. 28. The Vishuddha chakra is related with the creative word. 29. Sometimes to speak is a crime, and sometimes to be silent is also a crime. 30. Delinquent silences exist, and so do words of infamy. 31. The most difficult thing in life is to learn how to control our tongue. Chapter 10. The Chakra Ajna. 1. This chakra is found connected to its marvelous center located between the eyebrows. 2. The master who directs this center is Paramashiva. 3. The mantra that makes this chakra vibrate is Om. Ohom. 4. This chakra has 2 petals. 5. This marvelous chakra has a very pure white color. The cavernous plexus is the one that corresponds to this chakra. 6. The yogis from India state that one can destroy the karmas of past lives by meditating on this chakra. 7. Samael, logos of Mars, state that nobody can mock the law. 8. The best that we can do is to learn how to handle our negotiations. 9. Whosoever has capital, he can pay his debts and do well in his negotiations. 10. Perform good deeds so that you may pay your debts. 11. The lion of the law is fought with the scale. 12. When an inferior law is transcended by a superior law, the superior law flushes away the inferior law. 13. The yogi must learn how to travel in his astral body, so that he can visit the temple of Anubis and his 42 judges. 14. In the temple of the lords of karma, we can arrange our negotiations, karmic debts. 15. We can also ask for credit from the lords of karma, but every credit must be paid by working in the great work of the Father, or by suffering the unspeakable. 16. The chakra ajna is the chakra of clairvoyance or psychic vision. 17. The plexus of this chakra is a lotus flower that sprouts from the pituitary gland. This gland is the page or light bearer of the pineal gland, where the crown of the saints, the lotus of 1,000 petals, the eye of Dharma, the eye of intuition, is situated. 18. Psychic clairvoyance by itself without the development of the coronary chakra could lead the yogi astray into grave errors. 19. Billions of black magicians exist in the astral and mental planes. They disguise themselves as saints or masters of the White Lodge to mislead the disciples or to dictate false oracles to them. 20. The only way to avoid those possible errors is by awakening intuition, whose divine diamond eye is in the lotus of 1,000 petals that we are going to study in the next chapter. 21. The yogi, who wants to project himself in his astral body, must take advantage of that transition state that exists between vigil and sleep. 22. The yogi shall get up out of his bed in the very instant of falling asleep, and go out of his bedroom towards the palace of the lords of karma to arrange his negotiations. He can go to any temple of mysteries. 23. This former procedure must be executed with actions. It is not a mere mental exercise. 24. The yogi must get up from his bed in the instance of getting slumber, just as a somnambulist will do it. 25. Triumph is attained with patience and perseverance. 26. In former chapters we have taught the mantras and the practices for the chakras of the spinal column. 27. However, we must not forget that the plexuses also have their mantras. 28. The powerful Egyptian mantra Feuin Daj makes all of our plexuses vibrate. What is important is to prolong the sound of the vowels. 29. The vowels E, O, O, U are arranged in the following order. E. Frontal plexus. E. Larynx plexus. O. Cardiac plexus. OU. Solar plexus. A. Plexus of the lungs. 30. We can awaken all of our occult powers by meditating on each of these vowels, making the sound travel from between the eyebrows down to the throat, and then to the heart, the solar plexus, the legs, and finally to the feet. 31. Whosoever learns how to meditate in the Ajna chakra will acquire the 8 major cities, and the lesser 32. 32. This is the Church of Philadelphia. I know thy works, behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it, for thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. 33. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. 34. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. Revelation 3:10. 35. We are tempted by billions of demons in the mental and astral planes. Many of these demons disguise themselves as saints and masters to tempt and deceive us. 36. Psychic clairvoyance is set as an open door before you. However, it is necessary for you to acquire strength, and to keep the word of God so as to not fall into temptation. 37. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon the entire world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. Revelation 3:10. 38. In the mental plane there exist black magicians, who very cunningly advise us to perform seminal ejaculation. 39. Those black magicians disguise themselves as saints, and pronounce sublime speeches of love and sanctity. 40. Behold, in come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Revelation 3:11. 41. Those tenebrous entities advise the student to ejaculate his seminal fluid, to make his seminal liquor descend, thus taking away his crown. 42. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from God, and I will write upon him my new name. 43. He that bath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. Revelation 3:12-13. Chapter 11. The Chakra Sahasrara. 1. The Chakra Sahasrara is the crown of saints. It is the abode of Lord Shiva and corresponds to the pineal gland. 2. The crown of saints is attained when Devi Kundalini reaches this chakra. 3. The crown of saints has 12 stars. 4. These 12 stars are 12 faculties in the true human being. 5. 24 angelic atoms exist in the brain. These atoms represent the 24 elders of the zodiac. 6. The 24 atomic elders of our brain ardently shine when Devi Kundalini opens the marvelous chakra. 7. This center has 1,000 petals. This is the Church of Laodicea. 8. The revelation of St. John warns us. I know thy works, that thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Revelation 3:15-16. 9. Indeed, lukewarm souls are cast out from the temple of wisdom. 10. This wisdom is for ardent souls. 11. The 24 atomic elders represent the entire wisdom of the 24 elders of the zodiac. 12. The 24 zodiacal elders dressed in white garments are seated on the throne of our brain. 13. The atom of the Father is situated in the root of our nose. 14. This is the atom of the willpower. 15. Through willpower the 7 serpents of our 7 bodies rise by dominating the animal impulse. 16. The atom of the sun abides in the pituitary gland, whose exponent is the atom nous, the Son of Man, in the heart. 17. The atomic angel of the Holy Spirit shines within the chakra Sahasrara in the pineal gland. 18. The atom of the Father controls the magnetic ganglionic cord of the right, Pingla. 19. The atom of the Son governs the canal of Sushumna. 20. The atom of the Holy Spirit governs Ida. 21. That is why the atom of the Holy Spirit is intimately related with our sexual energies, and with the rays of the moon, which are related with human reproduction. 22. Behold, I stand at the door, and knock. If any man hear my voice, and opens the door, I will come into him, and will sup with him, and he with me. Revelation 3:20. 23. This is the wedding feast of the Lamb with the soul. 24. When we have raised the 7 serpents of fire upon the staff, he stands at the door and knocks. 25. He then comes into his temple. 26. Then he sups with us, and we with him. 27. To him that overcometh, will I to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne. Revelation 3:21. 28. This is the great event of Bethlehem. This is the nativity of the heart. 29. This is the descent of Christ into the atomic infernos of the human being. 30. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Revelation 12:1. 31. This woman dressed with the sun is the Christified soul. 32. And she being with child cried, traveling in birth, and pain to be delivered. Revelation 12:2. 33. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God, and to his throne. Revelation 12:5. 34. That man-child is our inner Christ in gestation, and that finally is born in us and transforms us into Christs. 35. When Jesus received the baptism in the Jordan, John told him, Jesus, you have received the Christ. Now you are a Christ. 36. 144,000 angelic atoms exist within our brain. Those angelic atoms govern all the atoms in our human organism. 37. The pituitary gland, or sixth sense, is the page, the light bearer of the pineal gland where the crown of the saints is situated. 38. The internal reconcentration is more important than clairvoyance. 39. Clairvoyance is useful in all planes of consciousness. 40. Nevertheless, in the inferior planes the tenebrous entities can lead the seers astray. 41. The demons disguise themselves as angels. 42. Whosoever advises the seminal ejaculation is a black magician. 43. We open the diamond eye, the pineal gland, by means of internal reconcentration. Thus, we enter into the superior worlds of fire where the truth reigns. 44. The clairvoyant who does not awake his intuition could become a slanderer of his neighbor, and even an assassin. 45. Intuition allows us to know the internal reality of all the images that float in the astral light. The intuitive clairvoyant is omniscient. 46. A clairvoyant without intuition is like a ship without a compass, or a ship without a steering wheel. The intuitive clairvoyant is powerful. 47. Each one of the 7 chakras of the spinal column is governed by an atomic angel. 48. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and a rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. Revelation 10:1. 49. That mighty angel is our innermost, crowned with a heavenly rainbow, the chakra Sahasrara of the pineal gland, whose resplendency is terribly divine. 50. And cried with a loud voice, as when a lion roareth, and hen he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. Revelation 10:3. 51. These 7 thunders are the 7 notes of the lost word that resound in the 7 churches of our spinal medulla. 52. Each one of the 7 angels of the 7 churches sound their trumpet. They sound their keynote as the sacred fire of Devi Kundalini ascends throughout the Brahmanadi of our Sushumna canal. 53. But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, the atomic angel of the Sahasrara chakra, when he shall begin to sound the trumpet, which is his secret note, the mystery of God shall be consummated, as he bath declared to his servants the prophets. Revelation 10:7. 54. The mantra Aum serves to open the chakras of the grand sympathetic nervous system. 55. Auim for the cavernous plexus of the pituitary gland, the center of clairvoyance. 56. Auem for the plexus of the thyroid gland, the center of clairaudience. 57. Auom for the heart, the center of intuition. 58 AUM for the solar plexus, region of the epigastria, the telepathic center. 59 AUAM for the chakra of the lungs that allows us to remember our past lives. 60 AUM is a proto-Tatwic mantra that allows us to awaken our Tatwic powers. To chant it, open the mouth with the vowel A, round it with the vowel U, and close it with the M. Apply the same system for all the other mantras: AUIM, AUEM, AUOM, AUM, AUAM. Chapter 12. The Seven Seals. 1. When we have formed our inner Christ, he then enters into all of our vehicles through the pineal gland. 2. The inner Christ has the shape of a small child. He comes out from within his ethereal womb to enter into our physical body through the pineal gland. 3. This is the descent of Christ into the atomic infernos of the human being. 4. This is the nativity of the heart. 5. It is how we transform ourselves into Christs. 6. Nature does not leap. This is why our inner Christ is born within us as a small child. 7. The three wise men, the Malachim, adore him and offer him gold, incense, and myrrh. 8. These three king magi are the innermost, the divine soul, and the human soul, Atman Buddhi Manas. 9. The star of Bethlehem is the central sun. It is the great universal breath of life. 10. Our inner Christ is only one particle of that spiritual central sun. 11. The entire universe of Pleroma, the whole thought of God, is reflected within our inner Christ. 12. Our inner Christ is the Word. 13. The Word becomes flesh within our heart with the event of Bethlehem. 14. We must clearly distinguish between the 7 churches and the 7 seals mentioned in Revelation. 15. The 7 churches are related to the 7 chakras of our spinal column. 16. The 7 seals are the 7 white spiritual serpents of our inner Christ. 17. These 7 serpents are the spiritual part of the 7 columns of fire of Devi Kundalini. 18. The 7 serpents of our inner Christ are no longer fiery, but rather they are beyond fire, even though they are the cause of fire. 19. These are the 7 seals of the revelation of St. John. 20. These 7 seals can be opened only by the Lamb, our inner Christ. 21. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. 22. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, who is worthy to open the book, and to loose the seals thereof. 23. And no man in heaven, nor in earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. Revelation 5, 1-3. 24. The book is the human being, and the 7 seals are the 7 spiritual serpents of our inner Christ. 25. These serpents can be raised only by the Lamb. 26. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard as it were the voice of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, Come and see. Revelation 6, 1. 27. The white horse appears as the symbol of the physical body, when the Lamb opens the first seal. 28. The red horse appears as the symbol of the ethereal body, when the Lamb opens the second seal. 29. The black horse appears as the symbol of the body of desires, astral body, when the Lamb opens the third seal. 30. The wisdom of the great Illuminati is granted to us, when the Lamb opens the 4th seal. This occurs when the inner Christ takes complete possession of the mental body of the human being. This is the yellow horse. 31. The human souls appear dressed in white garments when the Lamb opens the 5th seal. 32. The sun becomes dark like black cloth, and the moon becomes as blood when the Lamb opens the 6th seal. Then we are stricken with great pain, because the consciousness does not awaken, but through pain and bitterness. 33. Finally, the 7 atomic angels of our organism sound their trumpets in triumph, announcing victory, when the Lamb opens the 7th seal. 34. And when he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in 35. This is how the child God of Bethlehem grows within us. 36. The child God of Bethlehem has to be absorbed within all of his bodhisattva. He performs this by raising his 7 spiritual serpents. 37. So, when finally the child God of Bethlehem is absorbed within his bodhisattva, he tosses his bodhisattva back into the inner depths of the consciousness. This is how the child God comes from within to without, to the world of the flesh, to lean out through the five senses and to appear as a Christ among mankind, and thus to perform the work of the Father. 38. Do not confuse the 7 igneous serpents of the soul with the 7 totally Christic and spiritual serpents of the inner Christ. 39. The 4 horses of the apocalypse are our 4 bodies of sin, the 4 gross bodies which constitute our inferior personality. 40. The Lamb has to raise each one of these Christic serpents in successive order, first one, then the other, and so on. 41. This work is very arduous and difficult. 42. The horseman on the white horse triumphs with his bow and arrow. Thus the physical world is dominated. The horseman on the red horse has the power to take the peace away, and also to give peace, because the ethereal body is the base of the physical body. 43. The horseman on the black horse has to vanquish the weight of desire, lust, greed, and all the lower passions. 44. The name of the horseman of the yellow horse is death, and hell and death follow him, because the mental body is constituted by the atomic infernos of the human being where death reigns. 45. All things that exist within the human mind belong to desire, therefore, they have to die. 46. All the rubbish thought must fall dead before the temple doorway. This is why the name of the 4th horseman is death. And all the bitterness from hell follows him. 47. The earth is the twin sister of Venus. 48. All the events that happen on earth are repeated on Venus. 49. The light of the sun reaches earth through Venus. 50. Venus receives 3 times more solar light than the earth. 51. Venus is the solar light bearer. 52. The genie of the earth has to receive instructions from the genie of Venus. 53. Uriel, the genie of Venus, is the master of Chamgani, the genie of the earth. 54. If the light of the sun comes to earth through Venus, then we have no other choice than to appeal to Venus in order to be able to reach the solar logos. 55. Venus is love. 56. The Kundalini develops and progresses by means of sexual magic. 57. God shines over the perfect couple. 58. Sexual magic was practiced in the Illusion mysteries, along with the holy dances and naked dances to awaken and develop Devi Kundalini. 59. In the stone courtyards of the Aztec temples, young men and women remained sexually connected, loving each other for months in order to awaken Devi Kundalini. 60. There is no greater joy than love. 61. The only way men and women can transform themselves into gods is by adoring each other. If it is not this way, it is a waste of time. 62. Venus is the first star that shines before the sunrise. 63. Venus is the first star that shines when the sun sets. 64. Venus is the light bearer. 65. Venus is love. 66. God shines over the beings who love each other. Chapter 13. Internal Meditation. 1. Internal meditation is a scientific system to receive information. 2. When the wise submerges into meditation, he searches for information. 3. Meditation is the daily bread of the wise. 4. Meditation has different steps. A. Asana, posture of the body. B. Pratyahara, silence of the mind. C. Dharana, internal concentration. D. Dhyana, internal meditation. E. Samadhi, ecstasy. 5. Firstly, we must place our body in a very comfortable position. 6. We have to place our mind in silence before starting our concentration. That is to say, we have to remove every type of thought from our mind. 7. After having accomplished the former steps, we then rise up to the steps of Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. 8. Whosoever follows the path of Jnana Yoga converts himself into a sannyasin of thought. 9. First we concentrate our mind in the physical body, then after meditating profoundly about the nature of this marvelous vehicle, we discard it from the mind by saying, I am not the physical body. 10. Then, we concentrate our thought on our ethereal body, and we discard it by saying, I am not the ethereal body. 11. Then after, we meditate in the astral and mental bodies. 12. The astral and mental bodies are the two columns of the temple which rest upon the cubic stone of Yesod. That cubic stone is the ethereal body. The disciple has to pass between those two columns of the temple. 13. Those two columns are Jachin and Boaz, one black and the other white. 14. The word INRI is written with characters of fire upon those columns. 15. This word INRI is a password that allow us to pass between the two columns of the temple to function within the world of the mist of fire without material vehicles of any type. 16. The disciple will meditate profoundly on these two columns, which are the astral and mental bodies. The disciple slumber profoundly while mentally chanting the mantra INRI, prolonging the sound of each letter by imitating the sharp sound of the crickets of the forest, thus, until achieving that sound, until giving unto the letters that sharp sound, A. Sound synthesis like a prolonged S, as follows, SEE. 17. It is necessary to identify oneself with that sibilant very sharp sound, similar to the most elevated note that a fine flute can give. 18. The cricket was considered sacred, and was sold in golden cages at very high prices in the august Rome of the Caesars. 19. If we can have that little animal close to our ears, and if we meditate profoundly in its sound, then the sharp note that the cricket emits would awake in our brain the same sound. 20. Then we could rise from our bed with our astral body, and travel towards the Gnostic Church with complete consciousness. 21. That is the subtle voice mentioned by Apollonius of Tyana. That is the still small voice that Elijah heard in the entrance in of the cave. 22. Let us read some verses of the Bible, and he said, Go forth, and stand upon the mount before the Lord. And, behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains, and brake in pieces the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind, and after the wind an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. 23. And after the earthquake a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire a still small voice. 24. And it was so, when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle, and went out and stood in the entrance of the cave. And, behold, there came a voice unto him, and said, What doest thou here, Elijah? Kings 29 verses 11, 13. 25. The slumbering disciple will meditate profoundly on the black column, the astral body, and will try to hear the still small voice, while saying, I am not the astral body. 26. The disciple will then meditate profoundly on the white column, the mental body, and will try to hear the still small voice, the subtle voice, the essence of INRI, the sibilant S, the sharp sound of the crickets from the forests. Thus, while making the effort of falling asleep profoundly, he will discard the mental body by saying, I am not the mental body. 27. Now, the disciple will concentrate his entire mind on his willpower, and will discard the body of willpower by saying, I am not willpower either. 28. Now let the disciple concentrate his mind on his consciousness, on buddhi, body of the consciousness, and discard himself from that marvelous body by saying, I am not the consciousness either. 29. Now let the disciple concentrate himself in his innermost, become profoundly asleep, take a totally infantile attitude and say, I am the innermost, I am the innermost, I am the innermost. 30. Let the disciple slumber even deeper and say, the innermost is just the child of the inner Christ. 31. Let the disciple profoundly meditate on the inner Christ. 32. Now the disciple should be absorbed within the inner Christ. Let the disciple be absorbed in him, in him, in him. 33. Let the disciple say to himself, I am he, I am he, I am he. 34. The mantra pander will allow us to identify ourselves with our inner Christ, so to act as Christ within the universe of Pleroma. 35. May the disciple become profoundly asleep, because sleep is the breach that allows us to pass from meditation into samadhi. 36. Many types of samadhi exist: astral samadhi, mental samadhi, causal samadhi, samadhi within the consciousness, samadhi within the innermost, and samadhi within the inner Christ. 37. In the first samadhi we only enter into the astral plane. We soar with the mental body throughout space in the second type of samadhi. 38. We function without material vehicles of any type within the world of willpower in the third type of samadhi. We soar with the Buddhic body throughout space in the fourth type of samadhi. 39. we can move in the innermost without vehicles of any type throughout the world of the mist of fire in the fifth type of samadhi. 40. We can function in the inner Christ with the sixth type of samadhi. 41. A seventh type of samadhi exists for the great masters of samadhi. In this samadhi, we can visit the nucleoli upon which the entire universe is based. Those nucleoli, speaking in an allegorical way, are the holes through which we can observe the terrific majesty of the Absolute. May the peace of the Father be with ye. Samael Aun Weor.